Hello, today we'll be talking about how to transit controlled airspace. Hello, welcome to another Fly with Marco video. I hope you're well. Today we'll be talking about how to transit controlled airspace. I've had a couple of questions and comments about this, how you're allowed to fly through controlled airspace and things to that effect. So this video will help explain the process. Thank you to those who have subscribed to the channel. It really does mean a lot to me. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd like you to consider subscribing. So before we get into this, I'm not a flight instructor in any way, shape or form. This is me simply sharing my experience with you on how we obtain a transit through controlled airspace. This is especially useful for those maybe who are starting their PPL journey, or anyone really interested in aviation, or just to understand how it works. So first of all, what is transiting controlled airspace? What does it actually mean? Well, it's quite simple. Transiting means moving through a controlled airspace. So for example, take the nearest airport to where I'm based, Leeds Bradford International Airport. There's Class D controlled airspace surrounding that airport. So if I want to fly through that airport, airspace, i.e. I want to transit through that airspace, there's certain things that need to be done. So now we know what transiting controlled airspace actually means. Why do we do it? So there are a couple of reasons why you may want to transit controlled airspace. First of all, it may cut down your flight time. So rather than zigging, going around the controlled airspace, if you were to cut through it, your flight time will be less as you've got a more direct path to your end destination. Another reason you might want to transit controlled airspace is, again, to keep your RT, your radio telephony current and up to scratch on your radio skills. Again, transiting controlled airspace will request some form of request that you're asking ATC, and we'll come to this a little later in the video. And lastly, one reason why you may want to transit controlled airspace is because it's quite cool. You can fly overhead a busy airport, see planes landing, see planes taking off. It's a pretty cool thing, and I really enjoy doing it. So before we go over two examples, transiting controlled airspace doesn't actually require any additional skill set that a private pilot already possesses. All it really involves is you asking the question to air traffic controls, for the controller responsible for that particular airspace, asking them the question whether or not you're allowed, or they can grant you permission to transit their airspace. It's really a matter of a question. And if you don't ask, you don't get. The worst that can happen is that the air traffic controller says no, and then you can back up to your alternative route. So here are two examples of when I've transited controlled airspace. They're both quite different examples. The first is very simple and very quick, and the second example is a bit more of a lengthier exchange between me and ATC to get that permission.
Doncaster radar, Golf Sierra Foxtrot Tango Zulu, request zone transit and basic service.
Golf Sierra Foxtrot Tango Zulu, Doncaster radar, good afternoon, pass your message.
Golf Sierra Foxtrot Tango Zulu, Slingsby Firefly from Peterborough Conington to Sherburn in Elmet, 6 miles northeast, Bottlesford VRP on 1011, 4,800 feet, 2 POV, VFR, request basic service and zone transit, direct track to Selby, so just to the east of your airfield.
Golf Tango Zulu, roger, basic service, Doncaster QNH is 1012.
Basic service 1012, 4,800 feet, Golf Tango Zulu.
Golf Sierra Foxtrot Tango Zulu, clear to transit, VFR not above 5,000 feet, 1012, direct Selby.
Cleared transit not above 5,000 feet, direct Selby, Golf Tango Zulu.
Golf Tango Zulu, correct, squawk 6164.
Squawk 6164, Golf Tango Zulu.
Maybe it's straight away. Didn't have to think about it.
I know. Good. Sometimes I find that if you're quite, if you're not slow, you'll get it granted, won't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
So this example, we're flying back from Peterborough Conington to Sherburn in Elmet, and we're looking to transit the Doncaster Sheffield controlled airspace Again, just to save 5 minutes on the return leg and have more of a direct route than diverting round the airspace. So the aim of this transit is to save time. And as you can see, it was granted very quickly. I'm assuming there was very little traffic in the area. In fact, this flight was in between some lockdowns in 2020. So there weren't many commercial flights operating from Doncaster Sheffield. And as a result, I'm guessing they approved it straight away.
Station Collins, East Midlands, take any call sign?
Golf Sierra Foxtrot Tango Zulu.
Golf Sierra Foxtrot Tango Zulu, East Midlands, fast message.
Golf Sierra Foxtrot Tango Zulu, Slingsby T67 from Sandown, Isle of Wight to Sherburn in Elmet, 4,200 feet on 1021, 2 miles northeast, Draco Water VRP, 2 POB VFR, request basic service and zone transit just to the east of your airport, Golf Tango Zulu.
Golf Tango Zulu, roger, squawk 4555 and confirm your level on the East Midlands QNH of 1021. Golf Tango Zulu, identified, just confirm the service you'd like outside.
Basic service outside and then ideally zone transit just to the east of your airfield, Golf Tango Zulu.
Golf Tango Zulu, do you have a basic service not yet cleared through controlled airspace? I do have a departure decline through your level. Remain outside and I'll call you back for the clearance shortly.
Remain outside, await call, Golf Tango Zulu. Last time I did this, I saw a 737 land as I was overhead the airfield. Really amazing.
Golf Tango Zulu, just to confirm your routing then, are you looking to reach just on a track for Sherburn?
Affirm, Golf Tango Zulu.
Golf Tango Zulu, roger. I do have inbound traffic as well at the moment, and just confirm your VFR at the moment.
VFR, affirm, Golf Tango Zulu.
Golf Tango Zulu, roger. Cleared to transit Eastman's controlled airspace, then on track, not above 4,000 feet VFR.
Clear to transit controlled airspace, not above 4,000 feet to VFR, Golf Tango Zulu.
Golf Tango Zulu, just entering controlled airspace, radar control service.
Radar control service, Golf Tango Zulu.
Okay, so this example, we're flying back from the Isle of Wight and I want to cut through East Midlands airspace again to save time on the route back to Sherburn. Now this one's slightly different, as you can see. It's a bit more of a lengthier exchange between me and ATC. We get there in the end, but ATC are concerned because there's other traffic operating within their airspace, so they've got to coordinate our path through their airspace in a safe and and realistic manner. And they've got to ensure sufficient spacing. So they weren't able to grant us that zone transit straight away. But as you can see, we got there in the end. Everything was great, and we even managed to see I'm not sure what it was, a 747, it could have been a 737 land on final. So it was a really amazing transit, saved a lot of time, and therefore save some fuel as well. And just a good example of how if you don't ask, you don't get. Even if it is a somewhat busy time and you want to transit, it's still worth asking, and worst comes to worst, you can default to your alternative route that you've planned. Okay, so that's it for zone transits. If you think I've missed anything, please do feel free to post something in the comments. I will also be doing a video related to this topic, but on transiting military airspace. I think that'll be an interesting one, so stay tuned for that. As you know, I like to end with a really bad, terrible flying joke. Why is Peter Pan always flying? He never lands. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've got value from it, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.